Step 3, think real hard about what you want to be. Step 4, everybody just do your thing.
Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. Wake up.
Welcome to Tales from the Field. My name is Bradley Ball, and we are back and better than ever. Last week, I presented availability zones for Azure SQL Database and Manage Instance. And then on Tuesday, we had our Azure Data Community Roundtable. On Wednesday, I was back with Microsoft Fabric Introduction to Notebook Code Snippets. Then on Monday, Daniel Taylor was back again with how to secure and set up Elastic Jobs running Ola Holmgren's maintenance scripts in Azure SQL. So much to do, so much to see. You don't want to miss a thing. This is your first time making it over to Tales from the Field. Give us a like and give us a subscribe. We drop content every Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. This is Tuesday, so today is the Azure Data Community Roundtable. We are coming to you live streaming on YouTube, the hub of Tales from the Field. Want to interact with the show? It is so easy to do so. All you need to do is make a comment on the stream, and one of my amazing co-hosts will see that and we'll put that up. Before we go any further, let me introduce those amazing co-hosts. I am joined by the mountain man himself, Mr. Daniel Taylor. The best beard in the business is gone, but look at this just clean-shaven, good-looking, strong man, Mr. Andreas Padilla. And then we got the man in the hat himself, Mr. Josh Luedeman, and he is a human infinity stone. It's your friend and mine, Neeraj Jhaveri. I want to take a quick moment to reintroduce, in addition to the roundtable, our good friend Marcos Cardoza. You may remember, Marco, we did a video before Open AI prompt engineering, using that demo with Azure Service and Slack. We did this almost a year ago. Marco is going to be joining us on a more regular basis to produce some new Azure Open AI content on the channel. Keep your eyes peeled for that. Welcome, Marco. It's good to have you here, buddy. Quick call to action. This is the Azure Data Community Roundtable, and you are here because you are part of or want to be part of the Azure Data Community. So what do we want you to do? Well, we want you to head over to the Azure Data Community website over at Microsoft. Find a user group. Submit a user group. If you're a user group leader, we've got some advantages and some things that we help user groups out with. We've been doing this since 2020, so 4 years running, almost 5 years. If you find a user group, you'll be able to go and attend in-person meetings. And I know for many of us on here, it has enriched our careers being involved with the community. Well, what do we want you to do next after you go and you join a user group? Well, of course, we want you to get some free training. So head over to SQLSaturday.com, where they have some of the best free training opportunities in the community. You can see up next, we've got SQL Saturday Austin coming on March the 9th. Salt Lake City, you can see down here on April 20th, SQL Saturday Atlanta. Myself and Dan Tiller are going to be down there, but we're looking at this date, May the 4th in Jacksonville. May the 4th be with you. You can see we've got a nice little Star Wars theme going. And if you would look down at the pre-cons, you can see there's a pre-con, Unlocking AI Potential for the Data Professional, Azure Open AI. The speakers are Buck Woody from the SQL Server Product Group, the data scientist, the man himself, myself, Josh Luedeman, Daniel Taylor, Andreas Padilla, and Neeraj Jhaveri. We hope you will come. We hope you will attend. It's going to be a wonderful time. Now, after you're done looking at SQL Saturday, where are you going to go? Where are you going to go over to Data Saturday, where around the globe we have amazing virtual conferences with the same folks who are putting on SQL Saturdays. It's going to be the same top MVPs, consultants in the field, folks from Microsoft, giving you free training, and all it takes is that small little investment of your time. And one last thing, if you are learning Microsoft Fabricator, well, welcome Fabricators. We want you to go over to our LinkedIn group and we want you to join it. We've got over 2,000 members and we are continuing to grow. It's a wonderful place to get answers, find content. And as a matter of fact, some of the content you're going to see in the roundtable today came from the creators in the Azure Data community that posted in our Microsoft Fabric channel. Woo! Andreas, that was a lot. Talk to me, Goose. How was your weekend, buddy?
Oh, I'm putting up a new fence. It's boundary zone. Talk about I'm in permit hell. That's where I'm in. I'm in permit hell. Yeah.
I gotta say, when Brad gives you a great transition, like talk to me, Goose, putting up a fence is not what comes to mind. I immediately think of Tom Cruise and Anthony Edwards playing piano in a bar, trying to pick up ladies. Andres comes in, hold my beer, cracks the knuckles and everything, and goes, I'm putting in a fence.
I was going to say he's already as far away from me on the screen as he could get when he said, I'm putting up a fence. I thought it was a personal move. I didn't think he was actually building one at home. I'm like, you already got Josh and Neeraj between us, man. What else do you want?
Nothing. I will bring the A game later on. I'll have, the stories that you guys and the people out there in the world want. But today we're talking Tim the Toolman Taylor, Al Borland. We're talking fence.
Well,
Andres
speaking of the
is putting up
stories,
those boundaries.
I was going to say, talk about the stories that people want. Well, people want to hear from this man. I know I want to hear from this man. I always want to hear from him. And this amazing topic, who am I talking about? Well, Mr. Neeraj Jhaveri announcing Azure Private Link support for Microsoft Fabric and public preview. Neeraj, what do we got here?
Yep, great announcement that came up this week. Private link that a lot of people were waiting, or a lot of customers were waiting for it. Why do you need a private link? Private link enables a secure connectivity by Fabric to your own tenant. So that is something that definitely is going to be good. I mean, if you look at the diagram, it shows you how to connect private links and help you out to build that whole environment. It also, the way private link should work, it shows you up the setup and all the stuff. So something that definitely I know my customers were waiting for it, and you want to have it set up for private security to make sure your data is secure and in your own network. This is definitely something that you want to build it up. Really easy to set up.
I was going to say there were a lot of great announcements. We're going to cover two of them today, and quick surprise, I can't tell you what it is, but we're going to cover a third one in our video tomorrow. But there's a lot of wonderful security items coming from the Microsoft Fabric team. And I don't think it's any coincidence that we've got SQL Bits and we've got the Microsoft Fabric Community Conference just around the corner. So speaking of wonderful content and this great team, that brings me to mine. I want to point out the latest Fabric Espresso with our good friends Philippe Popovic and the original fabricator himself, Mr. Kevin Conan. He was the first man that I saw that used the fabricator title. I love it. I want it on a t-shirt. It's wonderful stuff. And another thing about wonderful stuff is them talking about how you can consume warehouse data from other services. They walk through this. Kevin is part of the Microsoft Fabric Cat team. Philippe is part of the Microsoft Fabric product group. Together, they have a host and a breadth of experience. And I don't want to ruin the video for you. It's some wonderful stuff. Let's give it a like. And let's make sure that you head over there and you go check this out and you consume that content. By the way, all the links to all of the video content that we are showing, all the blogs, the videos, is already in the description of the video. So if you see something you want, make sure you click down in that description below, find those links, scroll to them, check out these creators, make sure and give them some good likes. And talk about, creators that I want to give a little bit of good likes, some good love to. You know who I'm talking about, a man with a fantastic beard. And you know who that is, Mr. Daniel Taylor, who is up next with a few best practices for strong SQL Server security. Dan, walk me through this.
So I don't know if folks are aware, there was a huge data breach recently with a service provider for a healthcare industry. And I was like, what do I want to share this week? We all have to take security seriously. Now, this is just at the SQL Server side, so this is a great article. Go back and review the different security options you have within your servers, within your SQL Server instance, and within your database. This article goes through using strong authentication, enabling those strong passwords, implementing fine-grained access control, most importantly, encrypting that data in rest as well as in transit, preventing those SQL injections, little Bobby tables, audit and log activities, right? Checking those and making sure that you're following that up and monitoring your performance of your database, your secure database. So great article. Definitely go out and read this one here. And I forgot to mention the article's creator, Schmidt Dogley. And I apologize there, Schmidt, for not calling you out in the beginning. Great article. Go ahead and read this, folks.
Yeah, great job, Schmidt. Great article, Dan. And when I think of great stuff, I can't help but think of these folks, our wonderful partners over at Advanced Analytics, and that takes me over to Andreas Padilla. Andreas, we got Azure Databricks. How do you size your Databricks cluster?
Size matters, Brad. It matters. I'm telling you.
You're not wrong.
Yeah, but thank you for Simon Whitley and putting out, in my opinion, of all the posts I put out there, this is the best of the best. This is the one that brings the cake. I constantly get hit with how the heck do I right size my Spark clusters and Databricks? In 8 minutes, he tells you everything that you need to know. I've been looking for this video or something of the sort for months, because the way he conceptualizes this with what are the right sizes, how do you, work with hot partitions and don't overload one cluster worker node, all of that. I'm telling you, he breaks it down to you in simple, it's built for the easy button. Everything that's in here. What's going on in local disks, all the stuff in here. You want to know it, watch this if you're working with right sizing for the Databricks clusters.
Fantastic stuff. I love me an easy button. Well, we've just had Andreas. And so next up, I'm going to a good looking man with some good looking facial hair. And you know who that is? That's Mr. Marcus Cardoza. Welcome to your first entry. I was super excited when I saw this. This is a great one. Load testing Azure Open AI with JMeter. Marco, walk us through this.
All right. First of all, thank you so much for inviting me here. I'm very happy to be a part of this roundtable. So for this first article, load testing Azure OpenAI with JMeter, the first thing that caught my attention here is how two very different technologies from very different timelines come together for a solution. And this came at a perfect time. So Sudhir San here, our creator, walks through the steps for testing out your Azure OpenAI deployment before you get to production. This is something a lot of my customers ask about when they're just about ready to deploy. They want to know how strong their solution is, how resilient it is, and this will walk you through those steps. He'll set up a test here for a set number of users who are going to be bombarding our system with prompts, and he'll get some interesting information about latency, how many tokens per second you're expending, how much your solution is performing, how many errors do you get. He even goes as far as hooking into Azure Diagnostics to be able to pull out some backend metrics. I am super excited to try this out. We'll definitely be doing that. And make sure to check out his blog. There's a lot of great content there.
I was going to say, this is going to make a great video. I mean, this is wonderful content, but not only that, I know a lot of customers, when you're looking at doing load testing, especially enterprise customers, they utilize JMeter. Just having an instructional set of how to be able to set up a JMeter test, let alone how to be able to test it against Azure OpenAI. I mean, talk about some really cool stuff. I love it. Speaking of really cool stuff, this is something that I absolutely love. And from a man I love just as much. Of course, I'm talking about the man in the hat, Mr. Josh Luedeman, introducing managed private endpoints for Microsoft Fabric in public preview. Josh, I love the hat. What do you got for me, buddy?
Well, finally, I've been sitting here for like 20 minutes waiting. So for this one, I felt like I needed to raise my stock, and what better way to do that than try and do some innocent, slightly copying of Neeraj. So Neeraj brought you Private Link. Here, this is an article from the Fabric PG in Santosh and the rest of the team, where they're introducing managed private endpoints for Fabric in public preview. I know a lot of customers have asked for this. Hell, I've asked for this. So it's just such welcome news. Walks you through setting up managed private endpoints that you can get to things that are not behind public endpoints, like Azure SQL DB, storage accounts, things like that, where you can't get to them through public access. These private or managed private endpoints allow you to get there.
Absolutely. I love this. This is one that I'm very, very excited about. I've got a lot of customers who have been looking forward to using this, especially with Spark clusters, to be able to consume data. Now, there's a couple interesting notes on this that I was looking through today. You got to keep in mind, this is not for the default pools. You've actually got to spin up Spark capacity. So unlike the typical 5 seconds startup time that we see with the default pools, you're looking at a little bit longer period of time with that. It could be about 4 to 5 minutes. So just keep that in mind when you're doing this, is you're going to have that Spark capacity. Make sure and read through our documentation. There's a great link to that within this article. And it's again, some amazing functionality. Very, very excited that we've got this coming through. Speaking of something that I was also very excited from, two of my favorite people brought together with this next entry. And you know who I'm talking about. Of course, I'm talking about Mr. Neeraj Jhaveri and Mr. Bradley Schatt. Mapping Azure Synapse dedicated SQL pools to Fabric warehouse compute. By the way, Brad is doing a lot of amazing work on benchmarks, and it's something that when he finishes up with his work, we're actually going to make a video on that showing all this. And Dan, you're not wrong. Kenny Rogers or Dolly Parton. Again, what this is a winning combination. Neeraj, Brad, Dolly, Kenny. I mean, look, it's a tough call. I'm going with Neeraj and Brad. Neeraj, break this down for me because this was a great blog that Bradley Schatt put together.
I mean, the reason I love this blog is people who are confused out there saying, okay, how do I compare the dedicated SQL versus Fabric compute power? And the capacities were very hard to understand. So Brad did a really good job how to understanding it up. He showed the approach, how he has come down to this solution of it. Then he has started mapping it up, all the DWs to a Fabric SKUs. Like say what in DW dedicated DW 1000 or 1100 means is F6 or and the cost also. So that's the best part of it. I mean, you would know exactly. I mean, this cost would always go up and down depending on your agreement with Microsoft. But this is the high level that he's putting it up there. Then he also starts pointing it out how to map it up. I mean, he's giving an option of how to map that up from dedicated SQL to the recommended SKUs in Fabric. So definitely something that I found it really interesting because now if I'm thinking of migrating or I mean, don't migrate, you're not willing to migrate. But if you're thinking of migrating it out, this would give you really high level picture what your cost is going to be between your dedicated SQL that you had in Synapse already working. If you move to Fabric, this is what it's going to come down to be. And really nice written down article. It breaks it down in very detailed. I mean, it's a very long article, but definitely breaks it up in very details that can make it easy for anybody to understand Fabric.
Well, and look, we've known Brad Schatt for years outside of the channel, but we've also been working with Brad since July on content for the channel and on the monthly Fabric broadcast that we do. It's easy to forget sometimes that he is very, very much in demand. And one of the things he does is occasionally he is rolled out to talk to customers specifically on these benchmarks that he's doing. But Brad is a very, very key resource for this stuff, a very trusted resource. And I'm so glad that this is the start of the publishing of some of the work he's been doing. And I think that's really going to help us lead customers to the right and appropriate decisions, especially when it comes to those in Synapse looking to move over to Fabric data warehousing or to build new workloads, but they have experience with Synapse and they're looking for that advice and guidance. Speaking of advice and guidance, I'm going back to Rui Caballero. Rui has an amazing Medium blog, Master Data and sorry about that. Let me try that again. Woo. Let's see. Take two. Master Data Analysis without T-SQL, a guide to Microsoft Fabric visual queries. I think I may have given myself the longest title of the week. And what he does is he walks through the simplification of data analysis and how visual queries work. This is something that I know we've played around with on the Fabric Cat monthly updates that we've had with Bradley Schatt, but it's never something that we've made a video about. And I'm adding that as a backlog. Maybe that's an item that we need to go do, because one of the things that he shows is how to do a visual query, but not just how to do the visual query, but how we could join data between multiple rows. There's a lot of really good GUI capabilities that are available to customers. And there are some folks out there that, are used to GUI platform tools that don't necessarily have the T-SQL skills that we take for granted that sometimes that you develop over years of using. So making this accessible to users to be able to utilize is a very, very valuable thing. And underneath the covers, it's doing the T-SQL to be able to put this together. And he walks us through to be able to show how we can actually do some fairly complex T-SQL to then create a result set that we could visualize, and also how we could download that data. Really good stuff. Really, I really appreciate the blog. It was absolutely fantastic. Speaking of absolutely fantastic, Daniel Taylor had a wonderful video on Monday. If you haven't seen it, you want to check it out. It is a great video. It was a wonderful job. And you alluded to, and I think we have a link to this blog in that Monday video. So if you missed out on that, well, you get another shot, because here is that great blog that Dan was talking about from Mr. John Miner. our good friend out in the SQL community as well. Dan, talk to me about this. What do we got here?
Yeah, John Miner, MVP of the community. Always love being able to share out MVPs. John goes through here deploying and configuring Azure SQL Database for PostgreSQL using the Azure portal, but it's to solve a business problem. John's been introduced with a problem that management is saying, which is better for us, a Postgres SQL install on an Azure VM or a Postgres flexible server. And I've done a video here in the past on doing a Postgres, installing a Postgres flexible server, because if you're still on your single server, it's time to get off now and not wait until it's completely deprecated. He goes through that. I won't go through the install here. Definitely walk through that. It's a great walkthrough. Also watch the video here on our channel if you want to see what it looks like. He does a few things differently here. He enables Query Store for some performance metrics, then shows how to connect with some remote clients. But what I like here that John does, and I would actually love to do this test myself, is he installs a benchmark database, and he goes through, installs the benchmark, runs a bunch of different queries, right? The benchmarks through the cron scheduler, right? Executes the benchmarks, sets up the job scheduler, and then it's a great article. It's lengthy, and I'm going to skip ahead here. I definitely recommend you all read through this. And then he does a service comparison. I'm not going to ruin the service comparison for you because I want you to find out, because John's put a lot of work into writing in this article. But go ahead and read the service comparison and the summary, and you're going to enjoy it. And it's an interesting end. It had a twist. It was a the movie guy that always has the twist at the end.
M. Night Shyamalan.
M. Night Shyamalan. Yeah, it's an M. Night Shyamalan twist for me at the end. So thanks, guys.
The man ruined Airbender. But the new Airbender out on Netflix, I don't care what any of the haters want to say online, was beautiful. Paul Se-Hung as Uncle Hero. Oh my God, what a fantastic performance. I had a box of Kleenexes next to me, and there was many times my wife looked over at me and she was like, "You okay, hon?" I was like, "I'm fine."
This Tales for the Field Roundtable brought to you by Netflix.
All right. Speaking of things that I love, because I love that last blog, I love me some Query Store, and I love me some Andreas Padilla talking about demystifying LLMs with Cosmos DB. Andreas, how are we demystifying these LLMs?
I'm on a mission, Brad, and that mission is making vector databases easier for you and Josh and everybody out there. And this article by Akriti fills that mold. What I love about it is that she comes in, she talks about what, how LLMs, fit into the picture, how they work with vector databases, embeddings. But then she starts talking to us about how Cosmos DB can make it what areas it can make it better. It can make it better in terms of scalability. You can have different collections, containers, you can embed your data, all of that. And then she shows us how to use it. So you get all of those, if your concern is global distribution of data and you have scalability issues, and you need to, an area to vectorize your content for your semantic search, Cosmos DB is one of those options.
Very nice. I was going to say, I appreciate you making those vector search databases easier for me. God knows I need it. And I appreciate Mr. Marco Cardoza. Build, benchmark, evaluate, and deploy real-time interface endpoints with prompt flow. That was nearly the longest title. That was pretty good. I appreciate that. Walk us through it. What do we got here, Marco?
The new guy almost had you.
Almost.
Yeah, and the title really reflects the content, because there's a lot of stuff in here. So this article comes from our friend Alexander Levoy. This is from our AI services blog, and he breaks down how to evaluate our LLM applications. This is something that's very dear to me. When I was sort of in a data science role, I loved evaluating models. It's really fun to work with AI. It gives you very interesting outputs, but if you can't evaluate it, you can't sell it, you can't implement it. So he uses prompt flow, which is one of the newest tools in the AI arsenal in Azure, to evaluate a prompt and actually contrast with different prompts that he is using to extract entities from some text. So he's defining his ground truth. He's comparing outputs from different prompts and using that as a tool in order to choose how to best fine-tune his prompts. And he goes as far as to show you how to do it. He has all the code in that blog. Really interesting stuff that I'll have to break down myself in the next few weeks. And this is really interesting. It has all the metrics from the AI Studio and more.
Amazing. I absolutely love it. Fantastic stuff. Speaking of fantastic, we saved the fantastic for the last. Of course, you know who I'm talking about, Mr. Josh Luedeman. Bring it home, baby. We got this. Come on, let's do it.
No, so this is great. You know, you guys know me very, very well. I have nothing but love for the Postgres team and what they have going on. This post is by Claire Giordano, and where they're actually unveiling the ability to use the PG vector extension. So she actually uses this blog to go through how you use the PG vector extension to deploy vector databases on Azure Database for Postgres Flexible Server. So, you know, don't have to go deep into it, you know, really to take, you know, to go through all this, but she walks through, you know, the extension, Azure AI, and how to do that, enabling you to create the vector embeddings in the database layer, and be able to use it with PG vector. So it's a great, great blog post. Has a video as well here that she links to, that she did. Great content, great thing to go through.
Absolutely. I love it. Good stuff. Embedded video that also has the demo. So again, all of the content that we just covered is down in the description of the video. Make sure you check that out. Make sure you check out these great contributions that the community has put together. So it's time for us to wrap it up. Couple reminders coming up. We are less than 2 weeks away. 2 weeks from today, I'm actually going to be at SQL Bits. We will not have a roundtable because I will be teaching all day long, doing our pre-con over there. So we will be back a week after that. I am home very, very briefly from SQL Bits, just in time to do our roundtable and then to catch a 5 a.m. flight to Vegas because I will be at the Microsoft Fabric Community Conference. Our good friend and our collaborator, Bradley Shad, is going to be at SQL Bits and also at the Fabric Community Conference. We're going to be doing some shorts. We'll certainly have some walk-ups. We'll have some daily recaps. And I'm sure Brad and I are going to find some additional fun things.
Don't confuse the conferences, Brad. The SQL Bets are in Vegas, not at Bits.
Gotcha. Yes, SQL Bets Vegas, SQL Bits in London. I need to. I'm going to the right place on the right week. And then following that, April the 20th, Dan and I are going to be up in Atlanta for SQL Saturday Atlanta. And then on May the 4th, another very memorable date, we will be in Jacksonville. We covered it at the top of the show. You want to come in and join us for our pre-con that we're going to have. Buck Woody, Josh Luedeman, Neeraj Jhaveri, Andres Padilla, Dan Luedeman. Dan Luedeman.
Welcome to the family, sir.
Yeah, nice job.
Thank you.
There we go. We got Brad, Josh, and Daniel Luedeman all together teaching you about Microsoft AI for the data professional. Gentlemen, anything else that we want to make sure that we hit folks with and we make sure they remember?
We should
3 words, Brad. Vegas, Din, Tai, Fung. I expect pictures.
Oh, there will be pictures and there will be dumplings. All right. For Josh Luedeman, Daniel Taylor, Marco Cardoza, Neeraj Jhaveri, Andres Padilla, I am Bradley Ball. Thank you so much for joining us on Tales from the Field. Take care, everybody.
The aftermath of preparation, good food, good mood, blood and